Good afternoon, Erica.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing today?
I'm good.
Good to hear. My name is Belinda.
Okay.
I will be your counselor today. Have you ever been to counseling before?
I have. I've gone a couple times.
Okay, so before we get started, I'm gonna tell you about confidentiality, how it applies to you as the client, and my responsibility with confidentiality, right?
Okay.
So confidentiality is basically my promise to you that whatever you say will be kept inside of these four walls in this office, okay? There are some exceptions to that, and that is if any form of abuse is told to me or that comes out in one of our sessions, I have to relay that information to the proper authorities, okay? I will make sure I incorporate you into that phone call. And by that, I mean, we would make that phone call together. Okay. So I wouldn't just make it on my own and just, tell them whatever. I would want you to be a part of that so you could feel more comfortable or as comfortable as possible. Okay. The other exception with that is if a judge orders our session to be used in court, I would have to turn that information over, okay? Outside of that, everything you say here will stay right here, okay? All right, so I'm looking over your intake form, but you could go ahead and get started. Tell me a little bit about yourself and what brought you in today.
College professor, engaged, have a bonus son, a dog, and just been feeling more stressed, more tired, a little more anxious than usual.
Okay.
So I thought I should just sit down and talk to somebody about it.
Okay. And I want to commend you for taking that step, because that can be a tough step to take sometimes. But you did it,
Thank you.
And that's the first step to working towards overcoming whatever brought you here today, okay? So let's start with work. How is work going?
Work is better now. In the beginning, it was really stressful with the switch from being in person to online kind of abruptly, literally during spring break. And so first month was a little hard, having to try to help the adjuncts that I supervise with getting things lined up, work on my own classes, but also kind of try to, calm down any student anxiety and fears they had about what was happening. So it was just a lot. Every day it was something new for the first month, but the last couple of weeks as the semester is starting to wind down, things are starting to wind down and the stress is less.
Okay. So you said the first few weeks that this switch took place, it was a lot more stressful than it is now. Tell me, what did you do to have an outlet, or what was your outlet for that stress at that time?
I tried playing video games. Sometimes that helped. Sometimes it didn't. But, other than that, nothing really seemed to kind of be able to draw my mind away.
Okay. You mentioned your fiance and your bonus son. Since everyone is at home now, how has that home life been? How has that changed or not changed?
At times it could be irritating and stressful, having everybody in, the space with their own things they have to do. But, if you're not done with your stuff and everybody else is done, and just trying to figure that out. So yeah, it does become a lot.
Right.
When we all used to be able to go out and kind of get time away from each other or get time away from the house. Now we just kind of all in the same place all the time.
Right. So that personal time isn't there.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And that is very, very important, to have that personal time to be able to just relax and decompress. That is very important. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick recap just to make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay. You came in today because stress and work and everything with this switch because of the pandemic. is taking the stress and the toll out on you.
Right.
You said that it's easing up now because you've kind of gotten into a routine, but initially it hadn't. But you worked your way through that. Your home life with your fiance and your bonus son, it seems to be pretty strong, I would say. And no real stress or tension there.
Right.
Did I miss anything?
Yeah, I did do counseling before this
Okay.
time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was that for? What did you go in for?
When I was in grad school, I had a moment of deep depression, and so I went to counseling and kind of figured out lots of childhood trauma, and kind of spent 6 years of grad school working through that in counseling.
Okay, was that in the last year that you just told me about? Or
no,
that was before in grad school.
Yeah.
Okay. And would that be related to the past traumas that you have filled out on your intake sheet?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Have you been to counseling in the last year? I think I heard you say that.
Yes, I did go to counseling in the last year. Just wasn't feeling like myself. Felt like I was kind of all over the place and no set understanding of what I wanted, no boundaries. So I went in the last year to just kind of get a hold on that and feel more comfortable, I guess, in my own skin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And how has that been working?
I think it went pretty well, you know.
Okay.
I think about things a little bit more now before I do them, and don't feel not so much in my head when it's time to make decisions in the moment.
Okay, Erica. So now let's talk about some activities you can do during the day.
Okay.
For when you feel that stress level creeping up, right? I see here that you wanted to find some new hobbies. So what are some things that you think you're interested in?
Maybe baking, cooking in general. Like to start working out. That takes extra motivation, and sometimes you just don't have that at the end of a day of staring at a computer screen.
Understandable. Okay, so baking, cooking, puzzles would be
not really something I've done before.
No puzzles. Games, board games.
Sometimes. I play them sometimes, and that's cool.
Okay. So not necessarily exercising, but what about just getting up and just taking a walk? I heard you say you have a dog, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Taking the dog for a walk, just getting out and, getting that blood moving through the body, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. So, Erica, I would like to thank you for sharing and coming in today. If there's nothing else, I will see you next week.
All right.
Awesome.